The last 9 months has seen me and my dad take on the biggest challenge that this YouTube channel has ever seen. Following the FA Cup right from the very beginning and starting with our local team Red Hill, we have travelled the country following the winning team from each round until we got to the final. We visited an array of different stadiums throughout the English leagues, from standing in a field to reaching the likes of Anfield and Old Trafford on our very own road to Wembley. All of these videos have their own individual vlogs, so go and check them out for a more detailed account of our experiences. But firstly, some backstory on the FA Cup. The FA Cup is the world's oldest cup competition, with the first edition of the tournament taking place in the 1871-72 season. It's a competition that's open to all eligible teams from the Premier League all the way down to level 9 of the English football pyramid, with level 10 teams on standby for any gaps that need filling. Arsenal hold the record for the most wins in the competition with 14 FA Cup titles, but the real magic of the FA Cup comes from those teams in the lower divisions, with nearly every team in England forever associated with their own underdog story. It's what makes the tournament so exciting. The thrill at the idea that a non-league Crawley town could walk out of the theatre of dreams to face Manchester United. The thought that a League 2 Bradford could come back from 2-0 down at Stamford Bridge and beat the side who would go on to win the Premier League that same season. The opportunity that Wigan Athletic, a side who would be relegated from the Premier League just 3 days after reaching the FA Cup final, could go toe-to-toe with the riches of Manchester City at Wembley and win.
It's Wigan Athletic's FA Cup, yes!
People say that the magic of the FA Cup is dying, but this video is going to prove that it is still very much alive. This is the road to Wembley. For those of you that don't know, the FA Cup starts with a series of qualifying rounds consisting of the extra preliminary round, the preliminary round, the first round qualifying, followed by the second, third and fourth round qualifying. And that's before we even get to the first round proper. From there it's much more straightforward, with 7 more games to be played until the final. Around 640 teams compete in these qualifying rounds alone until the first round proper. And those qualifying rounds are where this story begins. Starting off with the extra preliminary round with Hilltop versus Red Hill. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are nearing the stadium as we speak. We've had some pretty questionable weather on the way, but it looks playable as we're walking across this random field. And that random field led on to another random field where our first game was to be played, surrounded by a fence and a hedge with a single lane road to the car park, which, as you can imagine, caused some problems. That being said, this is the beauty of non-league, and it didn't take long until we were treated some proper non-league tackles. Oh, just listen to that crunch of those ankles. A few days prior to this match, I bumped into Red Hill striker Adam Grant in Sainsbury's. He's a humble man. I told him about my plans for the road to Wembley, and in that brief encounter, I was able to pass on some words of wisdom to ensure that he had a brilliant game. Good. Safe to say he listened to none of my advice. But luckily for Adam, Hilltop were hardly firing on all cylinders either. And as the halftime whistle approached, we were wondering if we would ever see a goal. Yes, we would. Oh, and it's in! The halftime whistle went with Red Hill in front, and this journey was getting off to the perfect start.
That's bloody brilliant. And then when I say it's bloody brilliant, I'm not talking about quality, because we're getting the quality that you'd expect from this level that we're playing, which by the way is level 9 of the pyramid system.
The Red Hill dominance was clear to see, and the threat of a Hilltop comeback was simply out the question.
They've not really created too much anxiety for the Red Hill players, so I think they do deserve their 1-0 lead.
A lead that needed extending, mind you, but luckily we had Super Adam Grant on the case. Fucking hell, did this guy listen to a single word? The Red Hill pressure continued with a dangerous ball whipped in, and waiting in the centre, there was only one man to tap it home. Adam Grant had done it. That beautiful man had listened to my advice and doubled Red Hill's advantage. But Red Hill weren't finished there, with Tyrese Sutherland brought down clear on goal, and Red Hill had a chance to make it 3-0. Former Millwall Academy player Ruben Duncan had sent the goalkeeper the wrong way and celebrated like a prime Eric Cantona. Could this day get any better? Oh, it could. Tyrese Sutherland was through on goal with one man to his right, Adam Grant. This was it. Thanks to my advice, Adam Grant was about to get his second... Oh, Sutherland took it on himself and scored. That is awkward. Nevertheless, Red Hill were 4-0 up and any chance of a Hilltop comeback was now dead.
It's a great finish.
Well, that Hilltop fan clearly had more faith in his team than we did, as there is simply no way that... Awkward again.
The fans are loving it.
But that was it, ladies and gentlemen. The full-time whistle went and our first game finished with Red Hill as the winners.
Obviously, we're happy about that, but what a game it was. Give me your thoughts. How did you find it?
Tell you what, I absolutely loved it.
Happy to see the Red Hill have gone through, so we will be there for the next round of the FA Cup to watch Red Hill. Hopefully it's at Red Hill, because that'd be quite cool.
And luckily for us, it was. The draw had taken place and Red Hill's next match was a home tie against Ashford Town.
So, ladies and gents, as you can see, there's not really much going on in Red Hill, unfortunately. McDonald's, Sainsbury's, pretty much the main two highlights.
And of course, Red Hill FC looking to progress for yet another round, though this time against a side a league above them. I took the mickey out of Adam Grant in the last game, but I knew for a fact that this time he was going to step up and make a huge difference. And within the opening few minutes, Grant was through on goal with only the keeper to beat.
Oh, side netting.
The first half played out with quality chances for both teams. Ashford smashing the crossbar, followed by Adam Grant hitting the post.
Oh, it's off the post.
I don't even know what to say, but the first half somehow finished goalless.
With the way that the first half has gone, I'll be very, very surprised to see this game finish 0-0. I said it in the last vlog, but football is won in moments, and it's going to be one of those games today. Question is, who is going to be the player to step up when it matters the most?
Was it going to be Adam Grant? Could he be the hero that this game so desperately needed? Or were we about to see a new player step up and take this cup run by storm? A long ball played over the top was brought down beautifully by Grant, who surely now would find the back of the net.
Oh no!
I think we need another chat, mate. With time running out and the threat of a replay looming, both sides needed someone to save the day. And that man was Tyrese Sutherland.
Oh, nice!
Red Hill had done it again, and the full-time whistle went to secure their place in the next round of the FA Cup.
Great game again, really enjoyed it. Ultimately, I think the right team won. Looking forward to the draw on Monday, which presumably is live on BBC One. No? Not sure about that.
Well, the draw didn't quite make BBC One, but we soon discovered our next fixture. Another step closer to Wembley, another home tie for Red Hill, taking on Herne Bay. Back at Kilnbrow with Red Hill gearing up to down yet another side from the league above them, and with the Herne Bay fans out in full force, the crowds were starting to build in these early rounds. And it was a bright start for Red Hill with Ruben Duncan played through inside 10 minutes.
Yes!
The former Millwall man had done it again and given Red Hill an early lead. All they needed to do was hang on and find another.
And the appeal for the penalty is given this time.
And that was the last thing that Red Hill needed. It was now down to Luke Wynne-Roberts to keep Red Hill's lead intact as he faced the Herne Bay penalty.
Oh, and it's saved. Brilliant save from the goalkeeper.
And he'd done it! After giving away the penalty, Wynne-Roberts had kept Red Hill's lead intact as this fairy tale continued. Following that save, there was very limited chances until the half-time whistle went, and despite Ruben Duncan being the man who scored, it was Tyrese Sutherland who was stealing the show, and continued to do so in the second half, setting up a quality chance for Adam Grant, which was saved.
Oh, it's a great save.
He's dead to me at this point, but the full-time whistle went and Red Hill had won again, and the Red Hill fans had found their voice with this football team bringing the community together. And after a football hipster man of the match display from Tyrese Sutherland, and my dad even getting a picture with him, this Red Hill team had shown us the beauty that the FA Cup can have on a non-league club and how the competition could bring locals together through football.
If that isn't what the FA Cup is all about, then I don't know what the FA Cup's about, but it was brilliant. Loved it.
But the draw concluded that Red Hill would not be playing at home in the next round, as they were drawn to Whitehawk FC, a team who are 40 league places above them, and by far Red Hill's biggest challenge yet. On the morning of the game, Red Hill reached out to me on Twitter asking if they could arrange anything to help me with my vlogs. And this was the first interaction that I'd ever had with a football club before, so it was quite surreal. What had started out as a hobby from my bedroom had begun to feel like something proper, and being given this opportunity by the club was a huge thing for me.
We also, by the way, are going to have a very special guest at the end of the episode, so stick around for that regardless of the result.
The teams made their way out onto the pitch and the game got underway, but very early on it became clear that this challenge may just be a step too far for Red Hill. That pressure continued, and within 5 minutes, Red Hill were 1-0 down. It was far from the start that Red Hill wanted, but hang about, who does this guy think he is hitting the Rashford celebration? It's not even cool when Rashford does it. That didn't stop the Red Hill fans from singing, however, but the misery piled on soon after as the fairy tale was slipping out of reach.
It's gone from bad to worse very quickly for Red Hill.
Whitehawk was searching for a third, and Tyrese Sutherland was unable to take Red Hill's only chance of the half, but they hung on to keep the scoreline low at half-time. Red Hill needed a huge second half to bring this back, but given by the lack of chances in the first half, it was seeming like a task that was too much to ask. And 15 minutes into the second half, Whitehawk were given a free kick from range.
There could be a Marcus Rashford-esque special from this free kick. Oh my word.
By far the greatest goal that we've seen on this journey so far, and Whitehawk were running riot, and their fans, quite understandably, were loving every second of it. Despite conceding early on, Red Hill had started this half well, until their corner was punched away and Whitehawk were on the counter.
That is a good ball.
4-0 to Whitehawk, and our new opponents were confirmed by the full-time whistle. But we were so proud of our local team for fighting until the end, spearheaded by the management of that man, Jordan Clark.
So look, I'm really proud of my boys. What a journey. You know, 4 games in the FA Cup, my first season in it, trying to achieve something with Red Hill. The boys done us proud. They need to be really motivated by on how they've competed.
The last thing that I want to say is just thank you, because I mean we've really enjoyed our time here, and you can see the smile that you guys have all put on the faces of the supporters who've turned out week in and week out, and we've had a great time. It's a shame it's come to an end, but I think you can hold your heads high.
Enjoy following Whitehawk.
Well, we will do.
So that marks the end of our Red Hill adventure on this journey. What a man Jordan Clark is, what a club Red Hill are, and what a bloody handshake that was. I was bricking it all game, knowing that I had my first interview after the game, and I just kept thinking to myself, don't cock up the handshake, don't cock up the handshake.
Enjoy following Whitehawk.
It had been a magical start to our FA Cup journey, but now it was Whitehawk's turn to take us further on our road to Wembley, as they geared up for an away trip 10 miles down the road against National League side Worthing.
So, ladies and gents, we are in Worthing.
For the first time, and hopefully the only time, we should be witnessing AstroTurf.
Through the turnstiles we ventured to check out this ground for ourselves, and with an on-site bar, we were bound to be happy. The chances came in thick and fast, and inside 20 minutes, the ref had given a penalty Whitehawk's way. With Whitehawk 2 leagues below Worthing, this was the perfect opportunity for them to get this upset started, as Charlie Walker stepped up to the plate.
And it's 1-0 Whitehawk.
Our new team that we'd started following had taken an unexpected lead, and they weren't done there, piling on the pressure and forcing an incredible block by Joe Felix to deny Whitehawk from doubling their lead, and what a lifeline that gave them. Luckily for Worthing though, the ref blew for half-time, allowing them a break from a relentless half by Whitehawk. Were we about to see our first FA Cup upset at the expense of Worthing, or could they save themselves the embarrassment and earn themselves a much-needed comeback?
Considering
considering the gap between the two teams in the leagues, Whitehawk have played brilliantly and they definitely deserve their lead.
Whitehawk threatened again early in the second half, but Worthing were determined to put up a fight, and in the 67th minute, something really special happened. Out of this world from Jake Robinson. A scorpion kick goal that is worthy of a second look. And if that's still not enough, have a third. Whitehawk weren't going to give up without a fight, but neither were Worthing, with both sides having great opportunities until... Worthing were awarded a penalty with 15 minutes to go, and Worthing's comeback was almost complete. The pressure was all on Jake Robinson. Worthing had done it! From a terrible first half display, they were now in front, and despite coming within touching distance of a third, the ref blew the full-time whistle and Worthing were heading through. The magic of the cup had almost given us an upset, but instead spun the game around to give us a thrilling comeback instead.
Worthing weren't fantastic, but they did show that they were a level above what Whitehawk were.
It's obviously a shame because we've only followed Whitehawk now for this game as Whitehawk supporters, and now we move on to Worthing.
Another new team and another FA Cup draw. This time for the last qualifying round until the first round proper, but where was it going to take us? Worthing were dealt another home draw, this time against Bath City. Back in Worthing in that beautiful beer garden as the teams geared up for the tightest contest yet, with only 2 points separating the two teams in the same league. And, oh, Jesus wept, is that a mullet? A man bun is one thing, but a mullet like that is setting himself up some easy one-liners. But with the teams out on the field, much like his mullet, Bath will be needing business at the front and a party at the back to get past Worthing. I'll pack that in. However, an early flurry of balls into the box for Worthing suggested that the party atmosphere will be heading the way of the home team. The Worthing fans were certainly enjoying their team start to the game, with only a goal lacking in the first half as the referee blew his whistle for a goalless start. With the threat of our first draw of the series and the dreaded replay that it would bring, who was going to step up and be the hero? I'll let you mull it over. Nah, it's not him. Worthing got off to the perfect start, scoring from a set piece with Danny Cashman the hero.
Worthing take the lead.
And it didn't take long until he had another quality chance to double their lead. And he took it, gifted with another golden opportunity, and he cashed in big time. No, I'll stop those now. And Worthing had grinded out the result in a game of few chances. Danny Cashman was the hero for Worthing and had single-handedly fired them into the first round proper of the FA Cup. That game brought to an end the qualifying rounds of the FA Cup, as now we move to the first round proper.
On the Humwood straight now, aren't we? First round proper coming up, so pretty exciting.
Could we go on to see Worthing in the later stages of the FA Cup? It'd be amazing if we do. Hell of a ride, but we'll have to take it as it comes.
And the next game coming ours and Worthing's way set up the biggest trek of this series so far, as Worthing were drawn away from home to National League side Alfreton Town, and it was chucking it down.
Bit wet, isn't it?
It's a bit wet.
And I know what you're all thinking. I've just made a few digs at Mullet Boy and here I am rocking a moustache. Charity. It's for charity. Link in the description. But luckily for us, that tash wasn't frightening off any of the Worthing fans.
We've had a chat with a few of them and they're really loving the vlog, so that's great to hear.
And this is one of the beautiful things about taking part in this series. People were actually watching the vlogs and also enjoying it because it shone a light on these clubs who don't always get the recognition that they deserve.
Most passionate fan base in the league. Watch this second half.
The teams walked out onto the pitch and those Worthing boys behind the goal were certainly not disappointing. And nor were their boys on the pitch, starting the game in a dominant fashion. But it didn't take long for Alfreton to show that they meant business as well.
Confused with the back, and he's missed the open goal.
How did that not go in? There was one more chance for Alfreton with a brilliant save from Rocco Rees until the half-time whistle went.
I think Worthing have been really well, actually. I think they've had some half-decent chances.
The next goal is absolutely crucial in determining the result for this game, if we even see a goal.
Alfreton started the half well, and those Worthing fans were not dying down. But with 15 minutes to go, we were dealt our first goal of the game.
Oh, that's a fantastic goal.
And Alfreton had taken the lead in emphatic style. Just look at the movement on that strike. And unfortunately for Worthing, the Reds weren't done there. As in the 87th minute, they had put the game to bed and Worthing were out of the FA Cup.
It's really sad to say goodbye to Worthing, a bit like when we say goodbye to Redhill. We got a bit of a relationship with Worthing. In fact, it's fantastic today because they were coming saying hello to us before the match and during the match.
Special shout out to those fans as well, because we met some very special people on our travels with Worthing, and the fans themselves were making a lot of noise at all of the games that we went to, especially for a non-league side, and we love you guys.
I don't think it was an unfair result. I think in the end Alfreton deserved it. Fantastic first goal, and I think Worthing just lost it a little bit after that.
But now we had a new team in the heart of the country with Alfreton, and this brings the video to the most difficult part of the series. Drawn at home to League 2 Walsall, Alfreton were live on BBC One for the early kickoff. The 3-hour journey was made, Alex Scott was there, and after an Alfreton fan kindly brought us a drink before the game, we were ready to go.
Okay, so we have just had news in and can confirm that the game is now officially off.
Oh dear.
What a load of shite. 10 minutes before a game feels a little bit like a joke.
And it was. All of those Walsall fans who had made the journey and packed out that away end, and of course ourselves who had made the long old drive up to Alfreton just to be told 10 minutes before kickoff that the game wasn't going ahead. It was extremely frustrating. But at least when we made the journey back up for the replay, we were certain that we wouldn't be let down and the game would be sorted there and then.
Oh no, it's full time.
Great! So not a bright start for us following Alfreton, but at least we knew that travelling up to Walsall for the second leg, the game would be decided there and then. The stage was set and we were feeling confident for Alfreton after their home display.
They're the better team at the last game.
It's going to be a shock tonight.
A shocking kit from Alfreton, mind you, but the teams were out and underway, and contrary to our predictions, it was Walsall who started this game in fortunate fashion. 5 minutes in and 1-0 down, Alfreton had a mission on their hands. And with only one shot on target in the first half, it was Walsall who were applying the pressure, working the Alfreton keeper big time until the half-time whistle went.
And that is half-time, ladies and gents.
Despite missing an open goal in the second half and fighting off a resilient Alfreton comeback, Walsall were finally confirmed as winners of the tie, and this three-trip saga was over.
Alfreton can hold their heads up high. I think they put in a good shift again tonight. Tried really hard, came on better in the second half.
But there was something more pressing on our minds at full time. Something that, in fact, you guys at home may have noticed while watching this so far.
Every time that we've been to an FA Cup round, the team in red has won.
Go back and check, because honestly, it is really, really strange. But how long would this theme go on for? Well, the draw for the next round gave us a pretty good clue, as out of form Walsall were drawn away from home to Southampton. By far the biggest ground we've been to so far during this series, we made it to the St Mary's. And after a poor display from the Saddlers in the last round, our predictions were only going one way.
I'd love to see an upset, but I don't have much faith. I think 4-0.
Walsall in green got us underway, and 6 minutes in, their fortunes were already out the window. Ryan Fraser had put the Saints in front, and our thoughts of a high-scoring game were looking all the more likely. Southampton were putting more and more pressure on the Walsall goalkeeper, forcing save after save, and how this didn't find the back of the net, I will never know. But Walsall had soaked up all the pressure until half-time, though after a half like that, the game was only ever going to finish one way. So saddle up for the second half, because the Walsall are the Saddlers. Let's move on. It didn't take long for Walsall's first half resilience to come undone, as a ball into the box was finished off by Sekou Mara, and Southampton had made it too. This was the point of no return for Walsall, and by this stage, the floodgates had already opened, with Ryan Fraser finishing off another chance nicely to make it 3, and just 10 minutes later, Che Adams had put the result beyond any doubt. And those Southampton fans were enjoying every second of it. The ref blew for full time, and our short stay with Walsall was over, as our new team was confirmed with the boys in red once again. Shout out to all of those Walsall fans, by the way, who sang and stayed throughout the game, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to kill off those mighty Saints.
Best team won, definitely. Was a golfing class, and yeah. Looking forward to following Southampton now.
So with Southampton through, and our next game was actually drawn away from the St Mary's, with the Saints going head to head with 2019 FA Cup finalists Watford. One of the tightest games to call so far. We made it to the ground with the stadium absolutely packed for this game's action, and within the first 5 minutes, the tone was set for a feisty affair as Southampton gave away an early foul and the first yellow card of the game. This is the fight that we love to see in the competition, with two big teams fighting to try and book their place in the 5th round of the competition. But Watford had a free kick on the edge of the box with only one Southampton player defending in the wall.
The short wall.
Watford had struck an early lead with an absolute rocket, man. Saints fans reply to this, going on about their League One rivals Portsmouth. Makes sense. There wasn't a great deal of quality chances in the first half, with both teams wasteful in front of goal. But the referee brought the first half to an end, and Watford could walk into the dressing rooms at half-time saying, "I'm still standing."
Watford were winning everything, all those loose balls, all the 50-50s, it was all theirs. They made the game theirs.
Southampton very disappointing, actually. I think they've had a lot going forward. Wasteful crosses, passes, just nothing.
Watford were very clearly our favourites to hang on, but with both teams back out and fighting, including a Watford chance that hit the post and Southampton testing the keeper from range, the Saints fans were still confident that they could get something from this game. And in the 89th minute of the match, Southampton were piling on the pressure. Stuart Armstrong in the dying moments of the game had snatched a huge goal for Southampton, and we were on the verge of our second replay of the series. And that late goal confirmed exactly that, with the game finishing a 1-1 draw in what was an end-to-end game overall.
Thoroughly enjoyable match. Really enjoyed it.
Both sides did deserve their goal in the end. I just think if I was a Watford fan, I would feel so hard done by conceding at the death like that when they've defended so well, they've played so well for 90, but do you know what, that's football at the end of the day.
Watford now had the chance to make Southampton pay in their own backyard, as that marked our next venture. Back at the St Mary's Stadium for an FA Cup extravaganza, and so much on the line in a stadium that was only partially full due to the rescheduling. The ref got this replay underway with the rain pouring down in the St Mary's, and also dropping from the sky was Ismail Kone's shot from range that looped onto the crossbar early on. Southampton soon had a gift of their own, however, with Che Adams unable to convert from close range. Even Adam Grant would have bagged that. Half-time came with the scores even at 0-0, and it's safe to say the weather had played its part in the results so far.
It has been pissing it down since minute one, and it is difficult to play in, so I think that has factored why it hasn't been as eventful as the last game.
But there was still 45 minutes to go, and a lot could happen in that time, and a lot did.
Oh, it's good ball.
The perfect start for Southampton's second half display, and they were only just getting started, with the Saints completing a clean counter-attacking move with a moment of brilliance from Sekou Mara. Up there with one of the best goals that we'd seen, and just look at the power on that strike. So much so that the Watford keeper ended up walking off the pitch saying he was unable to continue. Southampton, on the other hand, still had plenty more in the tank. Samadozi was sent flying on the edge of the box, and as well as defying the laws of gravity, set Southampton up to make it 3-0.
Southampton lead 3-0, game over.
With two more late chances for Southampton, both hitting the post, much to Watford's delight, the referee blew for full time as the Saints were marching on. And despite a strong performance for Watford in their first game, they were now out of the FA Cup. And I can only guess that that's why they call it the Blues.
Southampton dominated throughout the 90 minutes, and they deserved the win.
Anfield will be a good opportunity for them to show exactly where they are.
Our running theme, though, was still intact for another round.
The Reds are through. I'm just saying. And the Reds play the Reds. I'm just saying.
Which brings us nicely onto our next game. The FA Cup 5th round was taking us to Liverpool, where they played Southampton. The crowd sizes have been growing more and more with each round, and with our next game taking place at Anfield, crowds don't get much bigger than that, and they certainly don't get much better. A packed out Anfield on an FA Cup night is what football dreams are made of. And just look at all of those Southampton fans who made that journey. So what better place to start this round off than with that iconic anthem. It's spine-tingling stuff. Southampton got us underway against the Liverpool side in red, and with the first attack of the game, Southampton were in.
That's 1-0, but the flag goes up.
That offside flag providing a massive let-off for Liverpool, but just a few minutes after, Southampton were played through again, this time just hitting the post.
Oh, it's off the post.
After a couple more very good chances for Southampton, it was looking like they were going to be the team to upset the odds and make it through to the next round. Harvey Elliott brought Liverpool's best chance of the half before a stroke of fortune gave Liverpool a surprise lead. It was one of the many youngsters in the Liverpool lineup, 18-year-old Lewis Kumas, who found the back of the net to score his first ever goal for Liverpool. And despite Southampton's bright start, Liverpool were the team in front. Only a minute later and the ref blew for half-time, still with everything to play for. Both sides were again wasteful in front of goal in the second half until the 73rd minute, where Jayden Danns scored in front of the Kop, and just look at that celebration. Passion personified, and this is what the FA Cup is all about. Two 18-year-olds on the score sheet for Liverpool, making history and scoring their first ever goals for the club in such a big game. And Jayden Danns' night was about to get a whole lot better, bagging his second of the night and ending Southampton's FA Cup run.
And Liverpool are through.
Full time, 3-0 Liverpool, and into the quarter-finals. It wasn't the best start for them, but once again the team in red had got the job done, and thanks to those Liverpool youngsters, they had booked their place in the next round.
Sometimes a team is decimated by injuries, and then they have to bring in the youngsters, and the youngsters show up. And they showed up on Sunday, and I think they showed up again tonight.
Could they be so heroic in the next round? Up against their bitter rivals Manchester United at Old Trafford in one of England's most fierce derbies, it wasn't going to be easy. Fans lined the street before the game, and you could really feel the tension before kickoff.
Very interesting to see what it's going to be like inside, because we are right next to Liverpool's pitch.
My dad was not exaggerating. Just look at this.
The atmosphere in this stadium is incredible, ladies and gentlemen. The teams are making their way out, but we're already set for a fixture that lives long in the memory.
The teams made their way out onto the pitch, and I did not realise just how right I was going to be about this game being so special. It was an attacking start for both teams, and by the 10th minute we already had our first goal.
Nice.
United Scottish superstar Scott McTominay celebrated right in front of us, and Manchester United were in the lead.
Brilliant start, and they deserved it.
The chances kept flying in, with Liverpool having a goal ruled out for offside, but before you knew it, Liverpool had drawn level.
Oh, no, that's going to count. It's McAllister. It's 1-1 on the brink of half-time. Oh, what a save.
And Liverpool had scored again. 2 quick-fire goals before half-time, and that away end was out of control. That was the last chance of the half, as the ref brought to an end an incredible 45 minutes of football, with at least another 45 still to be played. There isn't the threat of replays anymore at this stage of the competition. Instead, it's extra time and penalties.
You just got a horrible feeling that Liverpool are just going to run away with it now. I think it's Liverpool's to lose.
It's crucial that Man United score next if they want to stay in the FA Cup.
The second half was wasteful in front of goal again for both teams, with Liverpool unable to put this game to bed. And in games like this, you just cannot let the opposition have a way back into this game, but that's exactly what Liverpool did. Manchester United had scored in the final few minutes, with Anthony the unlikely hero, as the Liverpool fans were stunned into silence. Both teams missed chances to steal the win, including this horror miss from Rashford. And it was going to take extra time to try and settle this tie. On the brink of half-time at extra time, Harvey Elliott fired on past Onana and sent the Liverpool fans wild until Manchester United found an equaliser in the 112th minute to keep United in the game.
This game has had everything.
But there was still more to come. With the game dying out and destined for penalties, Liverpool had messed up a corner routine in the last minute, and Manchester United were through. Amad Diallo was the hero for Manchester United in one of the greatest FA Cup games of all time.
I cannot believe what I've seen this game. This has been one of the best games I have ever been to. Probably the best I will ever go to.
This is why the FA Cup is so special. For games like this where hope is seemingly lost, but something comes from somewhere to create beautiful moments like this. It was genuinely so hard to wrap our heads around what we had just witnessed, and being on such a high after that game, it was impossible to find the right words to say.
I actually don't know what to say. It's definitely the best FA Cup match we've been to this year, obviously. It's probably the best match we've ever been to together, isn't it?
But following a quarter-final that was seemingly impossible to top, we were headed back to Wembley for the semi-finals, and a date between Manchester United and Coventry City. Fans flooded Wembley Way and the occasion speaks for itself. The FA Cup semi-finals, where anyone can beat anyone and set themselves up with a place in that almighty final.
The semi-finals were so dramatic in both fixtures of these teams that we could potentially see more of the same in this game.
Coventry City had beaten Wolves 3-2 in their last FA Cup game with 2 stoppage time goals from Ellis Sims and Haji Wright, so this game had drama and goals written all over it. Both sides presented tifos before the game and the players were out. A place in the final at stake and the whole country watching as the players got the game underway. After a quiet start to the game, it was that man, Scott McTominay again, who got the scoring started with a nice and easy tap-in, and Manchester United were in front. Unable to create anything overly threatening and relying on Bradley Collins to save them, Coventry were really struggling to get a hold of this game, and in the 46th minute of the first half, Manchester United were 2-0 up thanks to a trademark Harry Maguire header. Coventry's day had got off to a terrible start. Half-time and the scoreline looking comfortable for United, it was going to take a miracle for Coventry to try and find a way back into this game.
They've been wasteful. They're not out of this tie by any means, but they've made it very hard for themselves going into the break 2-0 down.
And at the start of the second half, Bruno Fernandes had seemingly put the final nail in Coventry's coffin, giving Manchester United a 3-0 lead, and the hopes of Coventry pulling off a classic FA Cup upset looked all but gone. Or was it? Coventry realised something needed to change and began spraying more balls into the box, and by the 71st minute, they had pulled a goal back.
And it's going to be a nervy final 20 minutes now.
And how right was I going to be? In the 79th minute, Callum O'Hare's deflected shot left the whole ground waiting to see where it dropped. Coventry were 11 minutes and 1 goal away from taking the game to extra time, and surely this was all too good to be true. Onana was doing everything that he could to keep his side from conceding another, but one final ball into the box left the Coventry crowd cooling.
In the 92nd minute, Coventry have a penalty to draw level. And he scores. Coventry draw level. This is simply incredible.
We were shook. The whole stadium was shook. The whole country was turning back over their TV channels to see if it was true. And the referee brought the 90 minutes to an end with Coventry pulling off one of the greatest FA Cup comebacks the competition had ever seen. And there was still an extra 30 minutes to go. And of course, the threat of penalties.
How lucky are we? This is just unbelievable. I mean, we had an unbelievable quarter-final, United and Liverpool, and this is just, I just did not see that coming.
It was all Coventry for that end bit. It was just incredible.
Would this comeback be completed by Coventry, or were Manchester United about to break the Sky Blues' hearts? Bruno Fernandes smashed the crossbar at the start of extra time, and in the second half, it was Coventry, the side who dominated, with Ellis Sims having a shot of his own that rattled the Wembley woodwork.
This is just ridiculous now.
But there was one last chance. 2 minutes into injury time, Coventry were on the attack.
Brilliant. Reggie Wright's through. And they won it! They have! The flag stays down and Coventry have won it! In the 120th minute.
The Coventry fans were in raptures. Football fans across the country were in disbelief, but VAR were checking.
It's been ruled out! Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to penalties. I don't know how much more I can take of this.
The final whistle summoned penalties to be taken up our end, and it was Casemiro to take first.
United up first. And that is an absolutely shocking penalty.
He have missed one of the worst penalties that you will ever see in an FA Cup semi-final, and the advantage was Coventry's way. United and Coventry's kick takers were par of the course for the next few penalties, but it was Coventry City's golden boy Callum O'Hare who stepped up next.
And it's saved.
Andre Onana had given United a lifeline back into this shootout, who had to score next to even things up.
Sends the keeper the wrong way, and Manchester United are ahead.
And it was Ben Sheaf up next, Coventry captain, who saw his penalty sail over the crossbar, and Manchester United just had to score their next penalty to book their place in the final.
Are there more twists and turns ahead? It's Rasmus Højlund to take potentially the match-winning penalty. Manchester United to win it. It's Højlund. And it's done. Manchester United win!
And they were going to Wembley. After a game of so many twists, so many turns, United had just about survived to book their place in the FA Cup final.
I feel so sorry for Coventry. They should have won today. How lucky have we been? For God's sake, we've had one of the greatest quarter-finals that you could ever wish for, and then we've just had one of the greatest, if not the greatest, semi-final you could wish for.
We are so lucky.
Lucky indeed, and even more lucky to have secured our seats for Wembley for a Manchester Derby FA Cup final. After all of those months of travelling the country, we were here. The conclusion of this series, and it was an emotional day for us, knowing that we were only one game away from completing this journey.
Absolutely amazing to think that, 9 months ago we started a little field up in northwest London or wherever it was, Hilltop. Must admit, along the way, wasn't sure that we'd make it all the way, but we did. We had some help along the way, and for those people that have helped us, thank you very much.
We've made it. We've made it.
And with a sea of flags, the view from our seats, the atmosphere on final day was truly special. The United fans were in good spirits ahead of kick-off as they geared up against their rivals and firm favourites to win, Manchester City. Both sets of fans displaying tifos, teasing their opposition. The players were out onto the field, and the final game of our series was underway. City were dominating possession but struggling to create, and Manchester United hit a hopeful long ball forward that Gvardiol dealt with easily. The team in red once again taking the lead on the biggest stage yet, and those United fans were in raptures. Within a matter of minutes, United hit a surging ball forward once again, and the Red Devils were through. Garnacho laid up a tap in for Rashford, who scored. But the assistance flag was up and the score remained 1-0. At this point, City was struggling to get into the game. United had them on ropes with their counter-attacking football. Proved again just minutes later as Rashford hit a quality switch to Garnacho, who took the ball forward, and after some slick passing play, Kobbie Mainoo slotted the ball past Ortega.
That Manchester City end is absolutely silent.
The half-time whistle blew with United 2 in front, but Manchester City's winning pedigree could not be ruled out.
They are just such a powerhouse, such a unit. They know how to grind out a result. They could bring this back, but it's all down to Manchester United's game plan in the second half.
Point proven in minute 55 as Haaland smashes the ball onto the crossbar, and the City pressure intensified throughout the start of the second half. But it was miss after miss for Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola could only watch in horror. As the game reached its conclusion, there was still time for a twist in this FA Cup tale. Just when you thought you hadn't seen enough drama this series, Manchester City were now just one goal away from drawing level. But Man United held on, winning a free kick in the final minute, and as Bruno kicked the ball away, United were confirmed as champions. Just look at how much it means to those fans in red as their team had silenced their noisy neighbours and concluded our FA Cup journey. As the City end was more or less empty, it was time for that all-important trophy lift. Manchester United had won the FA Cup. Congratulations to you guys. But all we could do at full time was take in this moment and look back at what an experience we had shared over the last 9 months.
For me, it's a special memory that I'll take with me to my grave. I hope you will too.
It is a once in a lifetime thing what we've done. No one else on YouTube has done this before. Do it again next year? Alright, well, try.
So unfortunately we won't be doing the FA Cup Road to Wembley series next season, although I'm sure that there'll be a very similar series that crops its head up soon enough. But for now, let's just take a minute to look back at this incredible journey that we've been on.
The FA Cup journey for me was something that was in there from a long time ago, many years ago. Someone lent me a book. That book was exactly about what we've actually just done. I think at the end of last season, then it came back to me and I thought, well, why don't we do it ourselves? To be able to do that and to make it all the way to the final has been unbelievable. Really enjoyed it and something I'll never ever forget.
And we are underway.
Favourite team I've followed is dead easy. That's Red Hill. That was the essence of what we wanted to do. We wanted to start right at the beginning. We wanted to start from grassroots. And the icing on the cake was that Sam got to interview the Red Hill manager at the end of the match. He just put the icing on the cake. But yeah, I love following Red Hill. The best game I personally enjoyed would have been the semi-finals. That was just a fantastic game, one of the most exciting atmospheres I think I've ever encountered. If it wasn't for VAR, that would have stood, that would have counted, and it would have been the greatest upset of all time. The feeling of when that goal went in, it was just unbelievable. Everyone just couldn't believe that it had happened, and for at least a minute, that goal stood. Such a fantastic feeling, and unfortunately it was ruled out. Yeah, they fell at the last hurdle, unfortunately it didn't work out for them, but it would have been one of the greatest upsets, if not the greatest upset of all time.
And that brings to an end the Road to Wembley series. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched from the first episode all the way to the end. And even if you've just sat through this long old video, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is going to be one of those things that you do in life that you never ever forget. And to share the stage on this journey with my dad has been truly incredible. To everybody that helped us along the way, I can only echo our thanks that we put in the final vlog. It means so much. And it's these kind of series, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to do more of on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, stick around for the journey, because if this journey wasn't good enough, there's going to be plenty more where that came from in the future. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care as always. Peace and love.